Hello and welcome to Ebenezer Cottage Garden on a rainy Sunday afternoon here in Norfolk. I've had a horrible morning. I've been out there chopping up this caravan base, which when we moved into the house, there's just this old derelict caravan which is being used as a shed essentially. So it's just a case of chopping it up with an angle grinder into little bits and throwing it into a skip. So not the nicest of jobs, but at least it's done now. And I've also planted out probably about 40 to 50 sunflowers there, so it's just going to be a patch of sunflowers for this year. Anyway, today I'm going to be showing you how I'm planting my tomatoes this year. They are going direct into the ground and I'm going to be running string down from this galvanised wire that you can see here. Anyway, let's get down there and I'll show you my tomato varieties. Okay, so on this side of the greenhouse I'm going to be planting out all of my cooking tomatoes, which hopefully I'm going to use later on in the year to make some passata and things and preserve that, and we'll do a video on that later on in summer. But the varieties that I've got are San Marzano, we've got 3 of those, an Opalka, which is a Polish plum tomato, quite an interesting one. It makes really big fruit and they're also slightly pointed at the end, so I'm quite excited to get them going again this year. I've also got an Amish paste as well, which is a American heirloom variety. It does, like I say, big plum tomatoes too. The idea is that the other side of the greenhouse, which I'll show you in a bit, is going to be all my salad tomatoes. So I've got Chirola, cherry tomatoes, I've got Marmond for my beefsteaks, Moneymaker for your classic just slicing tomato, and then I've got Tigerella as well, which is a striped variety. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to string these up and get them into the ground. Okay, so I'm going to be using this fairly thick twine. It's compostable as well, so at the end of the growing season I'll just throw it onto the compost heap. So what I'm going to do is just tie this up around the galvanised wire. This is just 1mm wire here. And also what I'm going to do later on in the season is, as they grow up, train them up the top of the greenhouse here as well, just so I get that extra growing space. Now we're going to bring this down to the tomato. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this on an Opalka. And all I'm going to do is cut the twine here. And then the plan is to bury it under the tomato and that the roots will wrap around it and give it a nice secure fitting. You can see a nice root system there. Okay, so let's give this a bury. I'm going to take off these bottom leaves as well, and I'm going to try and bury it perhaps up to there. And I don't know if you can pick it up, but there are some very fine hairs on the tomato which will eventually spread out and create new roots, so it'll make for a really strong plant. So this compost is quite loose. I'm just going to go in with my hand like a savage, plant that string in the hole, and then the plant on top. This is all no dig here as well, I should mention, so it's just been a layer of compost and layer of cardboard with the compost on top. So as that grows, I'm going to wrap it around the string, make sure it goes all the way up to the top, and as I said, just keep on training up to the top of the greenhouse. So I'm going to crack on, get the rest of these planted, and I'll show you when it's done. It's going to be quite hard to get a shot of the whole thing because it's a bit of an awkward angle, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got that side planted up now, which is all my cooking ones, and I've also got a bit of a bonus plant for you, which I'm going to plant in now, which is an aubergine. It's a first for me. I've never grown aubergines before. This is a variety called Scorpio, which I think is a F1 hybrid, and it's also a first because it's a grafted aubergine. I don't know if you can just see the graft there. And something to bear in mind when you are planting up grafted vegetable, be that an aubergine or a tomato or anything else, is that when you plant it in, don't do the same as you would with a tomato and just bury it as deep as you can. You need to make sure really that that graft is above the ground level. Otherwise, the original plant is going to start trying to send out roots and establish itself, and you'll lose all the benefits of the graft itself. And the way I'm going to plant this one is I'm going to have 2 bits of string coming down, and I'm going to train 2 main stems going up to see if we can get more fruit that way. So I'll get this one in now. Something else that I would normally do over the summer months is fly out to Italy in Puglia, which is where my mum's from, on the heel of the boot. And on either the first or second day, I'll rush down to the market and buy 4 or 5 kilos of San Marzano tomatoes, the same ones that I've planted out today, and sun dry them over the holiday, and then bring them back and put them in jars with some olive oil, garlic and parsley, and enjoy them through the year. I don't think I'm going to get away with sun drying tomatoes here in the UK. It's just a little bit too humid for that. But I will have a go at either doing them in the food dehydrator or in the oven and see how I get on with those. Let's see if we can get the aubergine in now. I've got my 2 bits of string which are coming from the galvanised wire down into the ground. So again, soil is, or compost is quite loose. Just gonna have a little burrow. This one won't be going in as deep as I mentioned because of the graft. You might be able to see it a bit clearer. Now, just there is where they've joined. Pop the string into the hole. Pop that in and just secure it in place. Some compost. These all look like they need a bit of a drink, and I'll do that once the job is done. So I'm just going to move on and plant up the other side now. I've got all my cooking tomatoes and the aubergine in place, and yeah, I'll show you when it's done. Hopefully you can see now that the tomatoes are in their final spot for the rest of the summer, and all I'm going to do is that as they grow, I'm going to wrap them around the string and train them up, run another piece of galvanised wire across the top there so that they can grow all the way up to the top like a tomato jungle pretty much. Something that you might have seen in the intro is the cows. They've just come in today into the field around the garden. It's lovely to see them back here. I love waking up in the morning, looking out the bedroom and just seeing them running about. So if you've liked today's video, please like and subscribe. If you've gone with another technique, again, please pop that into the comments or send me a link. I'd love to see how you've done it. Thanks again for watching Ebenezer Cottage Garden, and I'll see you next time.